Charles Darwin is arguably one of the most well-known names in scientific history. He is the author of the book Origin of Species, which he published in November of 1859. This book explains his theory of evolution and how natural selection is a process over time in which plants and animals can adapt to changes in their environment in order to survive and reproduce, and those that do not adapt do not survive. Charles Darwin made a point to leave references to humans and religion out of his book, but it did not work. His theory of evolution challenged everything religion stood for, and the reaction to his book was one that enraged leaders of Christian churches. These leaders attacked the notion that man descended from monkeys, which was something that Charles was careful not to mention in his book. Political cartoons of Charles Darwin as a monkey insinuated that he was not intelligent and was evidence that people did not approve of his theory. Although most people during Darwin's time were not accepting of the theory of evolution, some people did become inspired by Darwin. For example, John Scopes, a 24-year-old teacher who taught evolution in his curriculum in 1925, was arrested and tried for teaching evolution because he broke the law that was against it, or any other theory denying biblical account of the creation of man. Scopes was found guilty originally, but the verdict was overturned 2 years later in 1927. But the law remained as it was for 42 years until 1967, when the Tennessee legislature repealed the anti-evolution law. It wasn't until then that teaching evolution reappeared in school books. Fast-forwarding to the 21st century, one can see the overall changes in the human thought process from the last few centuries. Studies show that in America, more people are okay with public school teaching of the theory of evolution. As time goes on and people become more modern, they are still accepting of some aspects of both evolution and the belief in God, which may be the reason for these results. However, another study shows that the more educated a person is, the more likely they are to care about students knowing about evolution along with creationism. Or, they are more accepting of evolution. Overall, across the globe, 41% of people identify as evolutionists, 28% of people refer to themselves as creationists, and 31% of people do not know. However, these studies do not show the in-between people who believe that humans evolved with the guidance of God. Without the hard work of Charles Darwin, the world we know now might not have ended up this way if his theories did not start a snowball effect of thinking about science, technology, and social and intellectual values differently.